like. Actually, no, I don't know what that is, looking at it, that's 4, right? So, coarse focus, right, fine focus, get it all focused in best I can, then I click it up to 10, and oh, now I can see some cells in there, little tiny cells, and 40, we'll go to 40 on every one of them, okay, with the exception of maybe one. And then, by the way, your slides can be pretty dirty, like this one looks kind of dirty here, but, so clean your slides if you need to. And we'll focus in, and what we need to draw in here and label are those structures, but draw a group of cells. Draw enough that you know what it looks like, okay? So I'm gonna look at this, there's my plasma membrane right there, right? So I draw, 8 or 10, 12 cells right here. Nucleus right in the center, and right in here is the cytoplasm. Easy enough, right? So all I'm asking you to do is be nice and neat. Draw nice clean arrows and print nicely your name there, all right? What your the name of what the structure is you're identifying. Don't cross arrows on your drawings ever, okay? It gets too hard to follow. Trace them out. What's all this stuff? It's just remnants, extra stain, and different things like that. Stuff that got on the slides, okay, on the tissue samples before they stained them, and that sort of stuff, okay? So that's what you need to do with that. That's how you find out. Okay, next up, let's go to the next one. This should be simple cuboidal epithelium. I really don't like this slide. Most of you will have a slide better than these. This is very pale, first of all. Lindsay Lee. So that's what it looks like there. So all these little open spots, they look like a bunch of bubbles, right? Inside the bubble is just the lumen of a tubule, okay? And these tubules are really big. Yours, you look at probably won't look this big. So now you can see them, all right? Some different tubules here. So I'm gonna come down and pick maybe like one of these down in here. And do like this one there, put it kind of in the center. Okay, and then I'll go to 40, you can see it even better, okay? And focus it in there. Okay, so it kind of looks like what we looked at on our picture, right? So there's a kidney tubule right there, same here. Nice open tube. So this is all free space in here. That looks like there's some leftover fluid in here. Okay, there's a single row of cuboidal cells going around that, okay? All these are the same way. See this one down here? Okay, yours will probably be better than this. But a single row of cells right there. So this is the lumen. So what surface is this? Right there where the pointer is. Apical surface, because there's free space here. So right here would be the basal surface, right there. And all this in here, next to it, would be connective tissue. Okay? So on your outline, you've got basement membrane, lumen, put the next slide in. And you don't have to do these in order. We don't have enough for everybody to grab them all and do them in order. You just grab a couple of slides and you do 2 at a time in no particular order. Okay, next we have simple columnar epithelium. Some of your slides are going to be very, very pale, and it's going to be hard to see the structure. So you may want to switch and get a different one. This is about as good as they get right here. Okay, so you can see the lumen, you guys, is not always just perfectly round or oval. This is the lumen. It's got kind of like a star shape to it. All these little projections of finger-like things coming out from it. So the lumen kind of goes this way. So here in purple, this is the simple columnar epithelium, right? Covering and lining. So it lines the lumen here. All this next to it would be what? Connective tissue right next to it, okay? So we get it to 4. This is the only one where you may want to leave it at 10, because at 10 you can maybe see it a little bit better than you can see it at 4. Oh, this one's not too bad, okay? So I'm going to move it like that. And I'm going to go ahead and enlarge it to 40. Yeah, 40 works okay here, okay? So even though it looks like there's multiple layers of cells, it's only one layer thick. What you're seeing is other cells behind it, okay? Because it's like when I always use the example of like you go into the deli, you want to cut salami, you want to cut thin or slice thin, you can always slice it thinner, right? Okay, so there's multiple layers kind of behind each other, they're not on top. We're talking about a single layer in height. So this would be the lumen up here, okay? Sometimes you have to go back to the previous magnification. Is that the lumen there, or is that the lumen there? You gotta go back and look at it, and it's like, oh, there's the lumen there on top, okay? So there's the lumen. So we got the apical surface here, All right, I got the bottoms or the basal surface there. Right next to that would be connective tissue, right, which is running kind of a different direction. In your outline here, it says apron. It's going to be hard to kind of see it. Okay, so once again, you might want to change it.
White was gone.
Okay, excellent. Stratified squamous. Epithelial tissue. How many layers? Multiple. More than one, right? We know more than one. Now, if you get your slide, and it looks something like this, okay? There's two different types. One that kind of looks like this, okay? So this one here. If I take this, I'm like, the stratified squamous is actually this dark strip, this little ribbon on the bottom, okay? So I kind of like to position it where I have the free surface on top, just to kind of make it, you know, a little easier. On tests, I usually position it that way. So I'm gonna flip my slide, just turn it on my thing to where it's upside down, not backward, but upside down. And now I can put it where I have the stratified squamous right here, okay? So I can have the apical layer on top. So you can't really tell much there at 4, okay? You go to 10, kind of see the dots in there, and now we go to 40, okay? And you gotta kind of, it'll kind of like lose focus from the bottom there to the top. But all this is my stratified squamous. It's like a roller coaster as it goes up and down here. Okay, so here's my bottom row of cells, right here. Another cell, another one, another one, another one, another one. And up here, they're just getting flatter and flatter and flatter as I go to the surface, and they're all becoming squamous cells up here. So in your outline, you're gonna put lumen up here, right? So this is the what surface? Apical surface. This is the what surface? Basal surface. All this beneath it is connective tissue. It's going to ask you to label rows of epithelial cells. So whatever you cut off your drawing, so draw like a section about like this, so you see all those structures. Draw enough where you can see, and then you don't have to draw it perfect, but okay, I'll go into that a little bit more in just a second. But then put a bracket around the side and just put rows of epithelial cells. Okay? So that gets to the part of who you drawing this for. You're not drawing for me. I'll grade it, but you're not drawing it for me. You're drawing it for you. So that's why you want to use color pencils if you can, right? I've got a bunch of extra ones up here. Because you're drawing ciliated columnar epithelial tissue. And there's a couple different ways the slide's positioned. So now when you look at this, there's multiple different things in this slide. When you look at this, you guys, the stratified squamous is a little, see this darker strip right there? It goes down like that. So some of these you can follow it all the way down and it makes a bend like this. And so I kind of like to position this thing in like this kind of, okay? So right there, only this strip, where my pointer is the stratified squamous. All this is connective tissue underneath. This is cartilage, which we're gonna look at Tuesday night. Okay, there's some fat, adipose tissue down in here. All right, so we only wanna look at that strip here with the pseudostratified, okay? So it's right here, so I'm gonna move it up just a little bit. It's always kind of good if you center it every time you change the magnification. And then we'll go to there, okay? Now you should be able to see some stuff, okay? What's all this fuzzy stuff on top? Cilia, right? So that's the what surface? Apical surface. So open space is the lumen. Here's the bottom of the cell. Pseudostratified has how many layers? One. That looks like more than one. So this is the bottom of the cell. That's the basal surface, so the basement membrane. So next to that is always the connective tissue, right? So, and then if you look in here, the goblet cells aren't quite as visible as the other, but see that clear spot right there? See this right here where it's clear, right there? Those are goblet cells in there. Okay. Then we have one more to look at. Okay. And that's going to be the transitional epithelium. And it's always kind of hard to find because it's a little bitty dot on the slide. There it is, right there. I didn't find it earlier today. This one's really light too. They don't know what it is with this one. Okay, so that's about as good as I can focus it there. Go to 10. Okay, and go 40, we go to the chair. Okay, and now we can see it 40. So now you can see see my lumen, still here, right? This is the actual transitional epithelium here, and see how this would run in a different direction? That's all the connective tissue underneath it. So I'm gonna bring it down this way, where I can kinda have the apical surface again, kinda up on top, for my drawing at least, okay? And I'm gonna draw, I don't know about that much of it right there, okay? Lumen, apical surface, the cells, the nuclei, basal surface or basement membrane, okay? And by the way, in this one here, if you look under there, it says lamina propria. Next to that, just put CT, because lamina propria is the what? Connective tissue. Also says lamina propria down, pseudostratified, put CT next to that so you don't forget. So there's my basal surface or basement membrane and the connective tissue right underneath it. Okay, the lamina.